Hey, what's up, Toby? We have made it
Hey,
to podcast 33.
33.
Process
A,
step.
a time machine. We got a slingshot last week. Look out, folks.
I know we snuck ahead.
And
We
now
forgot one, which was
this
bad.
is bonus track. Hey, Chris, I usually make it your job to think big ideas. And there's one that's been keeping me up at night. And it's not because I've been watching Walking Dead.
Okay,
Well,
all right.
that is, I'm maybe the last guy to get caught on to that. But the truth is, everybody's like, what do you do in the zombie apocalypse? And the reality is, I think we're living it today. Certainly in corporate America, I was going through and just looking at some of my own subscriptions, right? We pay them every
Right.
month. They're invisible to us.
Okay.
I'm paying for stuff that I haven't used in months, right? And I started thinking about this is on a personal basis
Yeah.
and to some of these little applications. But when we start to think about the organizations we work in and our clients,
Yeah.
so organizations have all these zombie systems knocking around and they're not chewing off your leg or anything, but we're not getting the value from them. We're paying the full sticker price and we might be using like 2 to 3% of the functionality. So tell me this is a unique problem to me and we'll move on to some other topic, but do you see this in your world?
I am shocked at how many software tools just even a small company has.
Oh my God.
Like for your consulting company, if you said you had 40 software pieces that you used, I'd be like, that sounds about right. And now, you just pick Microsoft and all of a sudden you've got 4,
Oh my gosh.
right?
Yeah.
You've got your Outlook, you've got Word, Excel, PowerPoint,
Right.
and others.
And that's without unpacking Outlook, which has calendar and it has email and it has task management. I came across, and I think that may be at the heart of when you said that, I saw a statistic that said the typical small business has something like, I want to say 68 pieces of software that it uses.
I would not be surprised.
You take that up to large business, and this is what surprised me. Large businesses were just under 300. And so I think about, my small consultancy versus a Nike or a Starbucks. And the reality is they have all the same base stack that I do, plus X systems. But that's the cost of admission. So I don't use task management inside of Outlook. I have task management over in Monday because that's where the team lives. But all I need is the calendar and the email. And I could probably even break those apart, except that my habits are there. And I think in the spirit of these zombie systems, it's like, God bless. How many of us would benefit from having somebody just sit us down, taking it up so many times to ask, what is it that we're getting out of this system? And so they're kind of invisible. It's not creating a blister on our daily lives, but boy, it sure erodes our margins. Joy,
How many zombie Jira instances do you think are out there in the wild?
Oh my heavens. I had one client that had 3 discrete instances that they were using. And there had been like 4 others that had flipped from trial into subscription, and they weren't big numbers. So that was actually more that were zombies than were in use. And maybe they were just undead. There was no value from them at all, right? But most of us use like one primary instance, and then there's these other outliers that we can't quite kill because there might be some data in it, or we haven't figured out how to move the functionality somewhere else. I mean, what kind of zombie systems do you feel like you've encountered in your years and travels?
What I see a lot is that people don't define what tools are supposed to be used for. And so therefore, instead of using a Confluence when they could, they go and buy something different, right? They buy a frontward facing knowledge management service. And so you end up with a lot of like bespoke applications that basically do one thing. Even if Jira can get you 80%, there is a large attraction to go and buy that extra 20% and then use only a fraction of the fraction. That's where I think it's really interesting because these tools are so ridiculously powerful if they are defined. And then you buy an add-on and then you only use a fraction of the add-on, and then you buy another add-on. It becomes the plague.
One of the conversations that I've had recently with a couple different clients and a few prospects is this idea of HubSpot is this fantastic system and it has all these marketing features. And then I'm like, well, great. Who uses those? Well, nobody yet. Oh, but you have a marketing. Well, yeah, we have a marketing team, but they don't use this. And I think, oh, okay. So that means they're using something else.
Yeah.
And so to your point about getting clear about what we use and what we don't,
Yeah.
it's a whole host of conversations that we've not had. We haven't brought people together in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
a lot of these zombie systems are harming us in a couple ways. It's not just that we're paying for this unnecessarily, but we're also getting excited. And in our efforts to bring people into our world, even though we haven't told them that, we're also doing things like building integrations or buying all these add-ons. And it's like, oh, but if I build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Not realizing that they're happy, healthy, and comfortable in their own world and have gotten really fluent at getting work done in a different way.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? I've got a budget. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tweak and make the tool that we have better. Said no one ever.
Not when there's a shiny new thing that you can just ink a quick check or do a face flash double click, and now you just bought a new app or bought a new whatever.
Yeah. And then what happens after you bought the new app? You realize that it doesn't integrate with the old app, but you have to hold on to the new app because you have budget for a year, and then you forget about it, and then it just rolls over and you get the invoice.
It's like reporting systems. If you have a company that's been around more than 10 years, it probably has a system per year, and you can't get rid of it because this guy has their critical reporting system.
Yeah.
A brand new leader just introduced system B.
Yeah.
Forbid we organize things and do it with intention. I really do think it's best intentions, but especially as you mix new people into, we all have our favorite thing that we're fluent with.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing is like, if you don't use a tool, you forget about it. You forget the tricks and the tips and the things that you're trying. Sometimes I think businesses go wrong because they don't put humans behind the tools. If no one owns the tools, then no one's actually going to, like, if there's no human that's driving the tool and the tool adoption, I can guarantee you're losing that person's salary in a lack of tool efficiency.
100%.
Yeah.
Also, we're designed for us only to push data into and never get value out of.
Yeah, for sure.
That's that old accounting world of, we don't care if you ever use the information, but we have to make sure we're reporting it.
Yeah.
And I think modern tools have shifted, and particularly how we approach tools when we do it with intention. Do I get an hour of value back out? And I think that's probably a really good equation. Just as a simple rule of thumb. If you've got a sales team banging information into a CRM all day and all it does is sit there, then you're probably missing the point of having a CRM. And if that's the case, reach out. But at the heart of it too, it's like, ask yourself of all these different systems. And that's the landscape has shifted so much.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, let's talk for a second. Let's kind of, in light of this, I'm glad to hear I'm not the only guy that has like 4 photo editing apps on his phone and is still paying a subscription, to AOL that have internet subscribers. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. We talk about Fix It Friday.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think when it comes to the thing that you can do, regardless of whether you're a manager or an executive, learn something about a tool that either you are in or your people are in. Because I guarantee you there is a magical area of space that you could go and learn in to make your life and your team's life better.
I love that. Yeah, we always have that guy that's curious, right? You're that tools guy.
Oh, I am that tools guy.
You spin up something every time I chat. You're like, hey, I found this new thing and I'm going to give it a couple hours. Nope, it wasn't better than what I already had.
It didn't work.
But it's that explore mindset.
And I think the other thing is like, don't assume that just because you have a technical person that they're going to understand the technical application.
Yeah.
Don't assume that they understand how to use Jira. Don't assume that they understand how to run a stand-up. Don't assume that they know how to do Scrum. Don't assume any of that, and figure out how it's done and march in that direction. But and if you can, and you have the ability to, and the authority to make multiple people and or groups do something, that can be ridiculously powerful. Because the thing that I see most often is that you have experts on a tool and their expertise is determined by their peers. And so, funny story, my mom was a kindergarten teacher forever. She was the Excel guru at school, and her Excel guruness was that she could add 2 numbers in an individual cell. Like that was next level stuff, not referencing a cell.
So you come by your Excel kung fu.
But the bar was so low for her.
Yeah.
And you go and work with an engineer that's in Excel all day, and you're like, my mom, like there's no way that she could have done any of the things that I was doing, but her peers, right? And so like, and I guess all that's to say that just because you're a technical expert in an IDE, that doesn't mean that you're very good at processing. And so, fixing stuff on Friday is really about just deciding to be curious, deciding to learn, going and just doing some research. Like if you're in Jira, go learn something about JQuil, right? If you're in Monday, go check stuff out on YouTube, search something on ChatGPT to just make yourself better.
I love that, Chris. I think you did a nice job of touching on both in that leadership capacity. What can you do to fix, but also individually. And so to kind of step it back a bit, what it does make me think about is this mess, the zombies grow in the dark, just like mud. And so it's starting to just expose them to the light, digging in and pulling it out of the back of the closet to look at it.
Yeah.
See if you still have any of the cartridges for your old Atari 2600. Because why are you keeping the hardware?
Yeah.
But also it's this idea of like communicating it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on more the business side. So it's that if the tool isn't doing a job, then I don't care how beautiful the interface.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting when you just raise your hand and say, what the heck are we using this for? Does anybody have a solution?
Yeah.
And it's so lean into that curiosity and have that conversation. So.
Yeah. The other thing is like, just keep your ears open, because you'll hear the people complain about the zombie employees will complain about the zombie systems. It's like, I report a KPI,
There's a brilliant person. They have all of this expertise and wisdom, perhaps. But if all we're doing is asking them to work in a super narrow way, we're only tapping into their 5 or 10% of value.
Oh, for sure.
Well, God forbid you have a zombie driving
in some companies. That does happen.
As always, Chris, I love our conversations.
Absolutely, man.
Good stuff, buddy. Have an awesome Friday.
Yep. Catch you next week.
All right.
Bye.